Hello, friends and family, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we will be continuing our series, Mental Health Is, but today, we're going to be talking about the aspects within our mental health that we cannot control. I know you heard me tell you that if we can change our mind, we can change our life, and that is true. And also, there is a part of our mental health that is individual, specific to us, that we cannot control. We have no responsibility for. So if you're interested in hearing more, stay tuned. And if you're ready, my brothers and sisters, let's get into it. Welcome back to Choosing to Live Now. My name is Taneshia, and I want to thank you so much for coming to join our conversation today. Listen, my brothers and my sisters, in our last conversation, we explored the World Health Organization's definition of what mental health actually is. Yes, and these are the 4 things they stated mental health are. Number 1, the ability to think. Number 2, the ability to have awareness of how we think. Number 3, the ability to manage normal stressful situations in a healthy manner. And number 4, mental health is the ability to manage our own behaviors. Yes. So what they let us know is that our popular culture often focus on mental health and managing it as it relates to our emotions and our moods. However, my brothers and sisters, we have learned that mental health is much bigger than those constructs. As a matter of fact, today we're going to talk about 4 constructs that influence the way that we experience, manage, and possess our mental health. And they are individual, social, economic, and environmental. But today, my brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking about the individual determinants of mental health. Yes. So my brothers and sisters, now listen, when we think about individual determinants of mental health, there are 2 important components within individual determinants of mental health. And they are genetic components and biological components. Right. So when we're thinking about genetic components, you might already have a mind of what genetics are. And that is, what are the traits that we have inherited from our generations, from both our mother and father side, great-grandparents, parents, ourselves, our siblings. All of us have these specific traits. So when we're thinking about inheritable traits or genetic traits, these include our mood and our temperament. Did you know that? Yes. So a lot of times our mood and the way that we have our temperament are related to something that we have inherited. Yeah, it is genetic. And there's been so much research that has been done to prove that. But the other facet of our individual determinants of mental health is biological. So when we're thinking about biological, I think that we often forget that beyond the things that we currently know, that there is no ability to think, breathe, move, and make decisions without our brain and our nervous systems functioning. Yes, my brothers and my sisters. So what we're saying here is that these two fundamental aspects of our lives impact the way that you and I experience the things that we think, our behaviors, and how we respond. So what you saying, Taneshia? What I'm saying is, so much of what we've discussed so far has focused on environmental factors that make us behave the way that we are. Now we're going to talk about what's inside of us. Yeah. So let's spend a little bit of time with brain functioning. So when we think about brain functioning, it's important for us to understand that there are various things that can impact the way that our brain functions. That includes the prenatal environment for which our parents, particularly our mothers, were in, our exposure to infectious disease at a younger age in our lives, traumatic brain injury or accidents that influence brain functioning. Yeah. And also genetic predispositions for cognitive delays and disabilities of the way that we think. All of those are biological, and as you can see, the cognitive delay piece is both biological and it is genetic. So what are you saying, Taneshia? What I'm saying is, based on the world that our parents were involved in when we were being incubated, and the world that we were exposed to when we were born, the environment, and the experiences that we've gone through in our life related to our brain functioning can impact the way that we manage mental health. So many times we look at people and we see them acting out and we see them not being able to manage their emotions, and it looks like they're not able to think clearly, and they're going through a lot of behavioral and emotional trauma that we perceive from the outside as being over the top and too much, and they need to get themselves together. We have no idea of what's working for them internally. No idea. As a matter of fact, to make it take it one more step further, there are constant studies that have showed the impact of a mother's mental health stability while she is pregnant. If the mother is under some level of stress, the child she is born with is going to embody that stress as an infant, and that can go all the way out through their adult life. Yep. And while we might suggest that that is genetic, it also becomes biological, because it now changes this experience, this fetal environment of the mother now changes the biological structure of the way that this child thinks in the womb, and the way that they experience stress and anxiety. And they may have a panic or a sense of discomfort related to something that they experienced or perceived their parents were experiencing while they were developing. So you might have heard someone say, I was a nervous little kid. The question I have to say to you is why? Why were you a nervous little kid? Did you see trauma? Did you experience it externally? Or were you born that way? And did you ever hear of the experience that your mother may have had while you were being developed in the womb. Those experiences influence the way that your brain functions, the way your nervous system functions, and could directly impact your mental health today, and you don't even realize it. So let's say you have been changing your mind and doing a lot of self-help work, and it's been successful in a way, but you notice that you find yourself a bit more anxious than the average person, even with all these things you're putting in place. I want you to consider the idea that the reason why you are that way, if you have no experiences that you can tie it to related to trauma, could be that you were born with a biological predisposition to be anxious because of something that happened in the fetal environment. Ooh, my brothers and sisters. Yep. Can I give you a story? Because you know I got one. So when I was pregnant with my second son, I went through a lot of different stressful events. My older son was hospitalized. My husband broke his ribs and was hospitalized for a week. They didn't even know his ribs were broken. I lost my father in the middle of that time period, and I was working in a heavy season in school. So many things were going on for me at once that I was constantly giving that stress to my baby, and I did not realize it. And so when he was born and on into his toddler, years and his early adolescent years, we began to recognize that he never slept very much. Always was on edge. Always was a little bit nervous and worried and concerned, having nightmares, going through different things, just very anxious. And it didn't dawn on me until I was well into my current area of study that I realized that the way that he is acting has become a part of him because of an experience I was having while I carried him. So I want you to take this moment in your life, this moment in this conversation, and think about your own experiences and see if this resonates with you. Because it's a possibility that the reason why you're anxious or you're a little bit more melancholy, or you're not hyper excited as it relates to the way that you navigate things in life, or you think in a certain pattern that makes your mental health a bit more challenged. You might even notice that the way that you interact and engage and manage your emotions is so different from everybody else. And it could be because of a biological predisposition that has influenced and rerouted your brain and nervous system functioning to cause you to be hyper anxious, hyper alert, or melancholy or lower because of something that's beyond your control. Yep. Another thing to consider, going back to the genetic factors that we might have that impact us. Have you ever thought about looking at your family history of the way that they manage their emotions, their moods, and their behaviors? Did you have a parent, an aunt, an uncle, or a cousin who were older than you that had a short temper, who were very quick to forgive, who were very quick to hold a grudge, who were very quick to be depressed or have worry, or to even have other types of disturbances like ADHD, or they might have learning problems, all of those sort of things? Have you ever thought about those things and how they may have impacted your family? And then think about yourself. Is that your story? If you talked to your family members and found out that these are issues that they've had, you could have inherited it, and or you could be experiencing them right now because of biological challenges. Let's then flip back from genetic, because we were just talking about it was in your family history. It might be you. Now let's go back to biological. Other biological functioning challenges is if you have an accident, major car accident, you play a sport and you have a head injury. Those types of traumatic experiences change brain functioning and nervous system functioning. So that when you were able to have self-control before you had the accident, you might not have the ability to control your emotions on your own as easily since that event. Can I help you a little bit? Some of these accidents that you might have experienced, you may have never gone to the doctor and gotten a formal diagnosis. So I want you to think about your life experiences. Did you fall when you were a kid hard off of a bike? Did you get into a fight, an accident? Did you do something that caused you to have an injury to the head early on, that after that experience, you recognize that your behaviors and your emotions are not the same? And if that happened to you and you no longer remember it, does anyone in your family have a recollection of an experience like that for you? Because if they do, it can help you to explain the way that you navigate your mental health, i.e. the way that you think, the way that you understand or can have access to your own, or rather awareness of your own thoughts, and the way that you respond to stressful situations, and the way that you behave. Because my brothers and sisters, here's the thing. When there is a biological threat to your mental health, you will not have the same patience. You will not have the same ability to manage your behaviors. You will not have the same abilities to function in life like other people who do not have those vulnerabilities. And therefore, when it comes to the things that you experience in life that are novel, new stressors, new issues, new concern, or consistent traumatic events that you experience, they can make you, if you have a vulnerability, that much more vulnerable to having major mental health lapses and breakdowns. Yup. Oh yes. So even if you're changing your mind to change your life, if there is a biological challenge that you're not aware of that is working in your behalf, if there is a genetic predisposition to a behavior, to a pattern of thinking that you might have that is blocking your ability to properly change your thoughts, it is imperative that you know about it. What you saying, Taneshia? What I am saying is, do the research on your experiences. Take some time and ask people that you have grown up with, who have reared you, who have raised you, about all of your experiences. It's funny because we spend so much of our life wondering and asking questions about our physical health. If we have a history of diabetes, if we have a history of cancer and all sorts of disorders when we go to the doctor, but we rarely ever take the time to find out what is working biologically for me. What is in my DNA? What have I inherited? What did I go through as a kid that I don't remember? What experiences did my mother have when I was being incubated in her womb? Was she involved in domestic violence? Did she have anything that could have happened to her that could have impacted the way that my biological structures of my brain thinks and behaves? And once we know these things, now that we know them, we can do something about them. Now, granted, we cannot go back and fix those instances in our life. But if we have gone to therapy over and over again over a good span of time, 2 to 3 years, and we have not had change, and we changed therapists, and we've made all the efforts in the world, there could be something chemically imbalanced in your brain that homeopathic medicine, treatment, or pharmaceutical medication could assist you in balancing. And I want to be clear, my brothers and sisters, this is rare. So I know that we live in an over-medicated environment, but this is rare. But if it is something that impacts you, having a treatment be in addition to all of the self-work that you're doing could assist you in being better able to take in the therapy that you're getting, to be able to better understand the information that you're learning about how to be your best self now. So knowing your history is critical. Because at the end of the day, there are things that are going on for many of us that are beyond what we can control, because they're rooted in biological functioning, which is related to how our brain is wired, our nervous system works, and our genetic factors. So the reason why I thought it was important that we talked about this today, my brothers and sisters, is so you can understand that yes, we're working on all these things to make ourselves better, but there are so many things that we don't even recognize that have happened in our lives that have aided us to be where we are in our state of mental health. And I want you to be kind to yourself. But also, I want you to do an analysis of your mental health by asking the right questions from the people who know it. And if you find that there is an issue that you cannot overcome, get the help you need. Many of the strategies that I'm giving you here are based on the fact that I am assuming you to have a normal mental health. That means you have the ability to think on your own. That means you have an awareness of your own thoughts. That means you have the ability to manage normal, stressful situations in a healthy manner, and that you have the ability to manage your own behaviors. That is the assumption. But that's not the case for a lot of us. And many of us have hidden from the things that we knew were not quite right. And I'm asking you to go get the support you need. Put it in the comment section if you want some resources other than the things that I am sharing with you. Because everyone does not have health insurance. Everyone does not feel comfortable going to a doctor, finding out what's out there. But we can provide you with resources that can provide you with a starting point to get the help you need. Okay, my brothers and sisters, now you know every way that you manage your mental health, meaning think, behave, and respond, is not all because of your own decision to be the way that you are. Some of it could be biological and genetic. And see, the reason why you want to know these things is because even if there's not a medical reason or medical treatment to help you to be better, you knowing it will then help you to recognize how valuable and important it is for you to take care of your mental health above everyone else. Because now that you know your developmental history and you can pinpoint, okay, this thing occurred and I'm weak in this area, so now I need to do extra things to make sure that I manage my stress well, that I forgive. Yep, what you thought it went away? Nope. That I process my grief, that I grow through my losses, and that I get the help I need when I need it, instead of waiting until things break down. And that's it, my brothers and sisters. Listen, I want to thank you so much for joining our conversation today. I hope that you got something that could help you to know a little bit more about your mental health. Okay? If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe. Share it with anyone you know who is interested in being their best self now, in this current environment and beyond. Like, and please be active in the comment section. All right? Until next time, I want to say, you are not alone. I am here with you. This is a community. It's a safe space. I know that things have been difficult, but we're going to get through it together if we do not give up. All right? Blessings to you today, my friends.